What is up, everybody? Chuck here, and welcome to today's Pokemon Go video. Hopefully you guys are all having a fantastic week so far. Now, on the heels of the leak that Generation 3 Pokemon have been added to the code of Pokemon Go, I wanted to ask you guys a question. Were you more excited back when we found out that Generation 2 was coming, or are you more excited now that we know that Generation 3 is on the way? I think I know what most of you guys are going to answer, but we're going to get to that at the end of this video, because first, I must tell you about yesterday. Now, when I show up to a raid, especially a legendary one, I don't have very high expectations going into them. This one in particular, we started less than 2 minutes before the raid expired. The timer was at about 1:40 when we went into the raid, and then obviously by the time we started battling it, the raid had expired. Now, after selfishly waiting for about 30 to 45 seconds for my raid team to finish off the Articuno, by the way, if you're wondering why I did this, it's so I don't lose my attack bonus. If you go back into a raid after your first 6 faint, your damage resets for that raid, so there's a pro tip. But also, don't have your entire group do it, because then you won't defeat it. Anyways, my raid group easily finished off the Articuno. We got our rewards, and then I realized the worst possible scenario had happened. I was out of Pokemon storage. Now, in a normal raid situation, this isn't a big deal. You go to your storage, you transfer a Rattata, you go back to the raid and try and catch the raid boss. However, this raid had expired. Clicking on that raid gym brought me to this screen. I mean, that was really stupid of me, I'll admit it. But to my credit, I hadn't played Pokemon Go or even opened up the app earlier that day or the day before, because that was during the eclipse, so I didn't know I had a full Pokemon storage. Pro tip, before you do a legendary raid, what you should do right after healing all of your Pokemon to get ready for the raid is make sure you have room. Don't be an idiot like me. So we left the Articuno and head off to a Moltres raid. I haven't done a Moltres raid in a while, so I figured, you know what, I could use one that has decent IVs, even though I already have one that I think is 96%. So we get to the Moltres, we battle it, we defeat it, no problem at all once again. And then it comes time to catch it, and guess what happens? No, I had already cleared out space, so don't worry about that. I had enough room to catch this Moltres. It turned out to be, let me get closer, it turned out to be my first ever perfect legendary encounter. Yes, it was an 1870 CP Moltres, and I tried my trick. I started rubbing my head. I was like, I gotta get this one. I gotta get this. Now, I normally have pretty good luck when it comes to catching legendaries, but for some reason, I just couldn't catch it. I had 12 chances. Got a great throw on the first one. Failed. Completely missed the second one. He broke free from the third one, missed the fourth ball, missed the fifth ball, got a great throw on the sixth ball, and finally, it jumped out again. Missed my seventh, got a nice throw on my eighth ball, and of course, it escaped. Hit it again, and finally, nope, just kidding, it escaped again. Missed it again, got a nice throw on my second to last ball, it escaped anyway, and then, obviously, we all know how the last ball works, it ran. Over the course of 20 minutes, I let an Articuno walk away from me without even getting a chance to catch it. Then I encountered my first ever perfect legendary, and what happened, Olive? It ran. Oh. I think she just woke up. So my pursuit for a perfect legendary, there's gonna be cat hair floating around all over the place, by the way. Thanks, Olive. My pursuit for a perfect legendary continues. Will I ever get one? Probably not. The odds of getting one aren't very high. But now let's rewind it to the beginning of this video where I asked you guys if you were more excited for when Generation 2 launched versus when we anticipate Generation 3 will launch. I mean, when I first heard word that Generation 3 was added to the code, I was like, yes! And then about 3.5 seconds later, I was like, oh wait. The focus of Pokemon Go has been completely directed towards raiding and legendaries, and that is it. If a Pokemon can't be used to effectively take down a legendary Pokemon, it isn't worth anybody's time to catch it, especially if you already have one in your Pokédex. Pokemon Go for me over the past month has literally consisted of farming Pidgeys for XP, farming Geodudes for Golems, and farming 10k eggs for I don't know why. A bunch of Pokemon that I'll probably never use. Except for Larvitar. Larvitar's good. Now when I think back to when Generation 2 was launched, at that point we didn't know that the gyms system was going to be changed. I mean, we did, but we didn't know what it was going to look like. We also didn't know how legendaries were going to be introduced into the game. And now that we know, so many Pokemon in Pokemon Go have become irrelevant. I remember how excited I was to hatch my first Mantine, and then I got one, and then I got 6 more, and then I wasn't happy anymore. Or to find my first Sudowoodo, or my first Skarmory, or my first Miltank. Fast forward to today, where we are aware that Generation 3 is coming at some point in the next year. We don't really know when. I would hope it would be before the end of summer, although we're running out of time. A lot of people are saying 2 to 3 months from now. That's too far away. Whereas I spent last summer running around catching rare Pokemon, hatching eggs at the hopes of hatching a Lapras or a Snorlax, or even a Chansey or an Aerodactyl. Nowadays, all I do and all most people in my city do is drive around from raid to raid. You get out of your car, you say, hey, what's up? You guys start yet? No? Okay, good. I'm starting it now. I mean, back in the day when you would throw a Snorlax or a Chansey in a gym, you were instantly like a king. Now I just put my leftover Pokemon in gyms because it isn't worth it to invest all of my good Pokemon for 50 coins a day, if they're even taken out. I mean, I put Pidgeys or Pidgeotos in gyms just so somebody will be encouraged to defeat them and give my coins to me. And even then, I'm lucky to see 50 coins a day. Now, I don't have a solution, so I guess you could say that this is kind of like a mini rant. Now, this video may seem a little bit cluttered, but here is my point. As long as there are legendary Pokemon to be raided against. Now, I'm aware that the 4 legendaries currently in the game will be unavailable in about a week from now, but after that, we don't know. As long as there are limited edition legendary Pokemon, everybody's focus will be completely on them, even if you release Gen 3. Legendaries in Pokemon Go have already lost their legendariness in the sense that I have 15 of each. So why not make them appear in the wild? Why not throw them in eggs? So my hope is this, that legendaries will eventually appear in the wild, or you'll eventually be able to hatch them from eggs to get people out and playing the game like it was intended to be and not driving from raid to raid to raid. And I'm guilty of that 100% because right now in this game, that is the only thing to do. I mean, before Raid started, I was super excited to find a Larvitar. Now I know if I ever run short on Larvitar candy, I can just go do a Tyranitar raid. And with winter coming in North America, I feel like it's only going to accelerate this problem. And it may not be a problem for some people. Some people may prefer just driving from raid to raid, and that's way more fun than actually going for walks or finding Pokemon in the wild. But for me, it isn't. I love legendary Pokemon, don't get me wrong, but their effect as raid bosses has kind of worn off for me. I mean, I have an almost perfect Lugia. I've maxed it out completely and I don't use it. I don't pay attention to it. But as long as we're able to load up our Pokemon storage with legendaries, why not let them appear in the wild? Why not let them appear in eggs? Now to put this into context, a year ago today, if you had an hour to spare and you were like, I'm gonna go play Pokemon Go, what you would probably do is go for a walk through your neighborhood or go to a park or go downtown, visit Pokestops to look for rare Pokemon and hope you get lucky, maybe battle a gym. Now today, if you have an hour to spare to play Pokemon Go, you probably log onto Facebook, check what raids are happening, drive across the city, spend a half hour driving, another half hour waiting for people to show up, and then play for about 3 or 4 minutes, 50-50 chance of whether or not you actually catch the raid boss, and then drive home. And that's basically it. Now maybe I'm the only one that thinks like this, and maybe it's just me reminiscing on the good old days of Pokemon Go, walking around and getting excited about finding like a Clefairy, but I think it would be great to see legendaries brought into the egg pool, or even into the wild. And to those of you who say, yeah, but Chuck, then the spoofers are gonna get 1,000 of them. Well, let them have 1,000 legendaries. What are they gonna do with them? Brag on the internet? Defeat a gym so they can maybe get 50 Pokecoins a day? Who cares? You want them to have legendaries so that your Pokemon can get taken out more easily and you can get your daily bonus. Seriously, I'm probably the only person who feels like this. Now, if you agree with me, that's great. If you don't agree with me, that's also great. Just let me know what your thoughts are either way down below in the comment section. I will be replying to comments all night long. If you enjoyed this video, it doesn't matter if you agree with me, but if you just enjoy the conversation, give this video a thumbs up. I'll have a handful of videos coming this weekend on Generation 3 stuff and raid vlogs and top 5s and top 10s. You know the drill. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe if you like Pokemon Go videos. I love you all. I will see you next time. Peace.